Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. And a heavyweight news mashup video today, starting with Joyce and Marko Huck. A purse bid has been held for the EBU title, which the two will be contesting, and Huck's team have won it. So on the EBU website, it doesn't disclose the details of the purse bid, but it does say the date of the fight, TBA by Huck Service GmbH. So Marko Huck and his team have control over the fight, where it will be and when it will be. So we'll have to see what happens then. But even if it is in Germany, Joyce's manager, Sam Jones, he's told Michael Benson they have absolutely no issue with going to Germany. So it probably likely will be in Germany. And in terms of the fight itself, I'm not sure that will have any real bearing over it. I would still have Joyce as a favourite heading into that fight. I think he's the bigger man, longer reach. I think he, with his volume, which is a form of defence in itself, I think he's going to try wear down a slightly past prime Marko Huck. It won't necessarily be easy, but I do think he is going to get the win there. Moving on. It looks like a fight between Dave Allen and Daniel Dubois will not be as easy to make as first thought, with issues hitting a snag on the negotiation front. So Allen had travelled to Leeds this past weekend to try and meet with Frank Warren at his show, and he was calling out Daniel Dubois, did a number of interviews, and Dubois responded publicly saying, "Yep, let's do it then. If you're serious, we'll do it in December." But negotiations have hit the rocks, with Allen describing an offer as horrendously low, and that has prompted this statement that you see on screen here from Frank Warren on his social media. So he says, "Dave, it was good to meet you on Saturday, though we are disappointed to read that our offers for you to box Daniel Dubois are now considered horrendously low by you. We offered you the original asking price that we were quoted before we met, and then increased the offer at your request as you said it wasn't enough. There is now a third and improved offer on the table, which is for the same purse you told us at our meeting you were paid to fight David Price in a losing effort. The offer, which includes if you wish a comeback fight should you lose, is on the table for the rest of the day. It's to fight Daniel for both the British and Commonwealth titles in December in London. If you or anyone else wants to pick up the phone and talk about it, you have our number. We wanted to keep this private, but by reading your comments on horrendously low offers, we needed to set the record straight. Our guess is the boxing rumour mill is in overdrive and people are telling you that there's more money in it than what you previously asked. That's just not the case. You're a good lad and we wish you well whatever you decide." Frank Warren's statement on social media, and that's prompted a response from Dave Allen, who on his own social media says, "Hello to whoever runs Frank's Twitter. As you know, the boxer, in brackets myself, does have the final say, but I do have a manager and several people advising me, you want it December, you know the figure, you want it March, you know that figure is considerably less. Have a great day. X." So David Allen responding there to Frank Warren's public statement regarding the negotiations, which have been all too public, as Frank Warren has sort of outlined. So whether this fight gets over the line, it's a little unclear, and it seems Dave Allen is holding out for more than Frank Warren is willing to pay. And if that's the case and it doesn't get made, maybe this is actually a bit of a blessing in disguise for Dave Allen, who obviously coming off a battering against David Price, didn't show much in that, and heading into a fight with Daniel Dubois would present much more risk in terms of damaging Dave Allen physically and maybe even mentally, given Dave Allen has presented as being a bit mentally fragile in recent months, especially some of the things that he has been saying. Martin Bakole will face Kevin Johnson now after his original opponent Gabriel Nguema pulled out of their fight in Newcastle. So Bakole, he was added to the card late with a week to go. It's on this weekend. Kevin Johnson jettisoned in, and it's almost like a rite of passage these days for up-and-coming prospects to face Johnson on the way up. There's so many top names that have fought Johnson now. He's got 15 losses on his record. He just fought this past weekend against another prospect, 6'9" Alexander Zokozy out of the Ukraine. That was a card in Germany. So he is sort of got some sort of form behind him in terms of he's just been in the ring. He's not completely out of shape, although he wasn't in great shape against Zokozy. So this sort of presents itself as a fight, I believe, that will be somewhat similar to the Daniel Dubois fight in the way that Johnson fights it. Against Zokozy just this past weekend, he wasn't so worried with what was coming back at him from Alexander Zokozy, even though he did take a shot in the fourth that sort of buzzed him and backed him up. Overall, he was letting his hands go, sort of very unlike Kevin Johnson for the most part. I think it'll be more like the Dubois fight where he was very negative. He was aware of Daniel Dubois' power, and I think he will be wary of Martin Bakole, who is a very big puncher, as we've seen in some of his fights. So I think Bakole will win this if it's not by a stoppage, which Kevin Johnson has only been stopped a couple of times, legitimately by Anthony Joshua, and also on cuts against Peter Milas. So it remains to be seen how this fight will pan out, but I would predict Kevin Johnson. We will again say this guy is maybe the amount of credit you get for facing him is starting to diminish, but he is still a good yardstick at this point for someone like Bakole at especially short notice. I don't mind it at all. It's a couple of days notice. Johnson, it is what it is. He might be able to take Bakole a number of rounds, and at this point in his career, Bakole needs the rounds. But I do predict a Bakole win. And if he does end up starching Kevin Johnson, well, that will be a statement to the heavyweight division. And rounding out this heavyweight news mashup video, in the coming days, a number of under-the-radar fights involving a number of prospects in particular. So in Kansas on Friday, you have Kenzie Morrison facing Keenan Hickman. Morrison currently 16-0 with 2 draws. Elsewhere in the United States, on Friday, you have Sonny Konto in Philadelphia taking on Stephen Lyons. In Philadelphia on the Saturday, you have 16-0 prospect Damani Rock taking on journeyman Marenzo Smith. Also this weekend, you have former title contender Razvan Kajano in Monaco. He's on a card against Tamaz Zadashvili, a 4-13 journeyman. And sometime Japanese heavyweight Kyotaro Fujimoto. This is a fight on Monday, a very sort of head-scratching sort of fight. He will be rematching a former middleweight that he's already beaten. This was a year ago, Sutat Kalalek. So this is a very strange fight. Kalalek the first time retired in 6 rounds. I don't know why Fujimoto is fighting him again, but it is what it is, I guess. Anyway, what do you make of it all? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.